When we're young, we picture growing old with familiar faces, always nearby our children, calling often our partner growing gray beside us, and holidays filled with laughter and warm company. It's a comforting thought, but life doesn't always unfold the way we imagine. According to recent data, nearly 30% of older adults in the US and UK now live alone, and that number keeps rising every year. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Because the truth is, aging well doesn't depend on who stays around. It depends on how you prepare. What if the strongest support after 60 isn't your family? What if it's what you build through your habits, your health, and your mindset? In this video, we're going to uncover 6 powerful pillars that form the only support system you can truly count on. These are tools for senior health independence and peace of mind. So if you care about how to live healthy after 50, avoid aging traps, and protect your future, this one's for you. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. What do you believe is the most reliable source of support in later life? Let's dive into the 6 pillars that can carry you not just through aging, but through life with strength and confidence. Number 1, mental flexibility. Stay open or shrink with age. They say wisdom comes with age, but so does something far more dangerous, mental stiffness. Not in your joints, but in your beliefs, your habits, your willingness to change. And once your thinking stops stretching, your world starts shrinking. Mental flexibility isn't about being clever. It's about staying curious, about resisting the urge to say, that's just the way I am, or I'm too old for that. Because every time you say that, you lose a piece of yourself, your spark, your adaptability, your joy. Staying mentally open is one of the most important daily habits for longevity, and yet it's one of the first things we let go of as we age. There's a woman I met last year. Her name's Helen. She's 74, lives in Kansas City. She told me her granddaughter had once tried to show her how to order groceries on a smartphone. Helen got frustrated and gave up. For years, she said, I don't do tech. Until the day came when her car broke down and no one was nearby to help. That moment forced her to try again. This time, she learned how to use delivery apps, how to video call, even how to look up her prescriptions. I didn't think I could learn it, she said. But once I did, I felt free again. That's what mental flexibility does. It doesn't just keep your brain alive, it brings your independence back. A study from Harvard found that older adults who continue to learn new skills show better memory and cognitive health than those who don't. Another report from the National Institute on Aging showed that staying mentally engaged can delay cognitive decline. That means your mind, just like your muscles, needs regular workouts to stay strong. So what does this look like in real life? It means trying a new recipe instead of cooking the same old thing every week. It means reading about topics you don't fully understand, like electric vehicles or plant-based diets or even cryptocurrency. Not because you want to use them, but because stretching your mind is part of healthy aging. These are real practical ways to follow doctor tips for older adults without pills or prescriptions. It also means embracing things that once scared you, like joining a local art class or learning how to navigate new apps on your phone. Even something as small as switching from paper calendars to digital ones, these changes train your brain to stay sharp. And each time you say yes to something unfamiliar, your brain lights up in places that would otherwise begin to fade. Some people think retirement is the finish line, but really it's the beginning of a whole new phase of growth. Mental growth doesn't stop when your paycheck does. In fact, this is the perfect time to explore things you never had time for before. Language apps, podcasts, virtual museums, or online groups for seniors, these are not trends for the young. They're tools for the wise. Mental flexibility is also what protects you from loneliness. Because when you're open to new conversations, new people, and new platforms, like online communities, you stay connected. Isolation often comes not from being physically alone, but from refusing to adapt to the changing world. The more you resist change, the more the world leaves you behind. But when you lean in, life leans back. You want to live healthy after 50. You want longevity secrets that truly make a difference. Then keep learning, keep listening, keep changing, because the day you stop growing is the day you start fading. And your mind, just like your body, deserves to stay vibrant. Mental flexibility isn't about chasing trends. It's about refusing to let your world shrink down to 4 walls and one routine. It's about waking up each day knowing there's something new to understand, and that is how you keep your spirit and your brain young. Aging gracefully doesn't mean settling. It means staying sharp, staying curious, and staying engaged. Not for others, for yourself. And that kind of strength, it's the kind you can rely on forever. Number two, purpose and passion, your new reason to wake up. There's a quiet danger in retirement that no one talks about. It's not money, it's not health, it's the slow erosion of purpose, the feeling that you've done your part and now you're just passing time. But time without purpose is heavy. It drags. It drains your joy. You don't just need something to do. You need something that stirs your heart, something that gives you a reason to get up, get dressed, and face the day with energy. That's not a luxury, it's a cornerstone of senior health. And one of the most overlooked longevity tips for older adults. A study from the Journal of the American Medical Association found that people over 50 who have a strong sense of purpose live longer. They also have lower rates of stroke, heart disease, and depression. Why? Because passion isn't fluff. It's fuel. It strengthens your spirit. It protects your mind. And most of all, it gives your life texture and meaning. There's a man I once knew named Carl. He was 67 when he retired from 40 years in construction. At first, he loved the peace and quiet. No more early alarms, no more deadlines. But after a few months, he felt restless, even sad. His wife told me he wasn't tired, he was lost. One day, Carl found his old guitar in the garage. It was dusty. One string was missing, but he picked it up. Little by little, he started playing again. Then writing. Within a year, he was teaching free music lessons to local kids. And that spark came back to his eyes, the one that had been gone since he left the job site. You don't need to be a musician or a writer or an artist. You just need something that reminds you you're still growing, still needed, still alive in the best sense of the word. Doctor tips for older adults often focus on nutrition and exercise, but few talk about the importance of having a mission. It could be gardening, helping a neighbor, starting a book club, volunteering at your church or animal shelter, mentoring a young person in your community. You don't need a paycheck. You just need purpose, something that lights you up inside. Passion doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's just showing up every day to something that matters to you. Even if no one's watching, even if no one claps, it's not about recognition, it's about connection. And that quiet fire inside you, that's what keeps your spirit young. Retirement isn't the end of your story, it's a new chapter, one you finally get to write for yourself. And unlike the chapters before, this one doesn't need approval, it only needs honesty. What do you love? What have you always wanted to try? There's no expiration date on creativity, no age limit on contribution. Your life experience is valuable, your wisdom is needed, and your joy is still yours to chase. This is one of the most powerful longevity tips no one tells you. Find something that excites you and do it often. You'll sleep better, think clearer, laugh more, and feel like every day is a gift again. When you live with passion, you don't just add years to your life. You add life to your years, and that's a kind of wealth no money can buy. So ask yourself this, what do you wake up for? And what are you still waiting to start? Number 3, physical health, the body that carries your freedom. You don't need six-pack abs after 60. You need knees that let you walk, hands that can grip a doorknob, a back that doesn't scream every time you bend. Because real freedom in later life isn't about looking young. It's about being able to move, cook, clean, and enjoy your days without help. Mobility is dignity, and strength isn't vanity, it's survival. The moment your body starts breaking down, your world begins to shrink. You stop going places. You stop doing things. You start depending on others more than you ever wanted to. There's a gentleman named Frank I met last year. He's 81, lives in New Mexico, and used to be a truck driver. When he retired, he figured it was time to relax. He swapped morning walks for TV marathons and lived on frozen meals. By 73, he couldn't walk a full block without pain. One fall outside the grocery store changed everything. Frank cracked his hip and spent 8 weeks in rehab. He told me, "That's when I realized my body wasn't just aging, I had abandoned it." Now he lifts light weights, cooks his own meals, and walks daily. He's not trying to reverse time. He's rebuilding trust with his body. That's the key. Your body doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be dependable. A walking habit can lower your risk of heart disease and stroke by nearly 30%, according to the American Heart Association. Even strength training twice a week can improve balance and prevent aging diseases like osteoporosis. You don't need a gym. You need consistency. Start with what you can do. 10 minutes of walking after dinner, gentle chair exercises in the morning, stretching before bed. These small steps keep your joints awake, your blood flowing, your mind sharp. And what you feed your body matters just as much. A balanced diet isn't a trend, it's your fuel. The Senior Nutrition Guide is simple whole foods, not packages. Leafy greens for magnesium, berries for antioxidants, fatty fish for your heart. Avoid the sugars and processed foods that spike and crash your energy. Your gut health affects your brain health. Inflammation in your belly can lead to inflammation in your mind. That's why natural health for seniors must include nutrition. It's not just about weight, it's about function. Food is your medicine or your poison every single day. You don't have to change everything overnight. Swap soda for water. Add a vegetable to lunch. Cook at home once more each week. These small habits compound. And before you know it, you're standing taller, walking steadier, breathing easier. Pain is not a normal part of aging. Weakness doesn't have to be your destiny. You can prevent aging diseases by staying active, eating right, and listening to your body. Not later, now. Because prevention is always better than recovery. Your freedom depends on your physical foundation. Not to run marathons, but to carry groceries. To get up off the floor. To dance a little in the kitchen. To live on your own terms, and that is worth every small effort you make today. You want a healthy, joyful life after 50? Then take care of the one thing you carry with you every day, your body. It's not too late. It's never too late. And your future self will thank you for starting today. Number 4, prosperity freedom starts with financial peace. There's a kind of stress that lingers quietly behind the eyes. It shows up at night when bills pile up and income feels too small. It follows you into the grocery store, into the doctor's office. It's the fear that you won't have enough. And that fear can age you faster than time ever could. Prosperity in later life isn't about being rich. It's about sleeping well, breathing easier, knowing your needs are met, and you don't have to rely on anyone to survive. It's one of the most important longevity tips that rarely makes the headlines. Because peace of mind is a form of health too. A recent survey by AARP found that 41% of adults over 60 feel anxious about running out of money. That's nearly half of our aging population. And when money stress builds, so do health issues, high blood pressure, poor sleep, even depression. Financial wellness is a pillar of over 60 wellness that deserves more attention. Not just from experts, but from each of us right now. I once spoke to a woman named Brenda, 68, from Oregon. She spent decades working as a teacher, never earned big, but lived well. After retirement, she realized her house was too big, her car too expensive, and her habits too costly for her new reality. Instead of panicking, she simplified. She moved into a smaller place near town, traded her SUV for a compact hybrid, and took up sewing again, not just for fun, but to sell custom tote bags online. Now she brings in a few $100s a month, enough to cushion her savings. But more than the money, it gives her confidence. That's prosperity. That's freedom from fear. And that's a lifestyle that supports healthy aging on your terms. Doctor tips for older adults often focus on medical routines. But more and more physicians are beginning to ask about financial stress. Because if you're constantly worried about bills, you're less likely to stay active, eat well, or get regular checkups. Even joyful things like traveling, visiting grandkids, or picking up new hobbies can feel out of reach when money's tight. But here's the truth. You can shift that story. Start small. Cut one unnecessary subscription. Cook more at home. Use your skills, gardening, crafting, tutoring to create joy-filled side income. Even decluttering and selling unused items can ease the load. And if downsizing is an option, consider it. Not as a loss, but as a powerful step toward freedom. Smaller homes mean fewer bills, less maintenance, and more peace. It also brings you closer to what really matters: relationships, time, and energy for living. You don't need more stuff. You need more space to breathe. There's a quiet kind of pride in financial simplicity. It's not about sacrifice, it's about intention. Choosing what you value and letting go of the rest. It's knowing you're not tied to a paycheck or anyone's approval. That's not just financial independence. That's emotional independence. Prosperity after 60 is deeply personal. It's not flashy. It's not showy. It's the ability to handle emergencies, to give generously when you want to To say yes to life without checking your bank balance first. That is real lasting security. If you want a powerful longevity tip, this is it. Rebuild your relationship with money. Make it work for you. Simplify, reorganize, and believe that freedom is still possible, because it is, starting today. Number 5, social circle. Build your chosen family. There's a silence that can creep in after 60. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that fills your house with too much space, too few voices, too many days in a row without meaningful connection. And over time, it can wear you down in ways that medicine can't fix. Loneliness doesn't just feel bad, it damages your health. Studies show it increases your risk of heart disease, dementia, and even early death. The CDC reports that social isolation among older adults significantly raises the risk of premature mortality. That makes connection one of the most powerful senior home remedies you'll ever find. And it doesn't come in a bottle, it comes from people. Real friendships after 60 are different than when you were younger. You no longer need a crowd. You need depth. People who really see you, not just your age, but your humor, your struggles, your spirit. That's what strengthens your soul and protects your emotional health. I once met a man named Peter, 70, from Ohio. His wife had passed 3 years earlier. His kids were busy with their own lives. He told me I thought I was doing fine. But I was alone for 5 days before I realized I hadn't spoken out loud. That moment shook him. Peter joined a local woodworking group at the community center. He didn't go there to talk. He went to build. But what he found were conversations, laughter, shared lunches, and slowly real friendships. Now he says that group is the one thing that kept him from slipping into depression. That's the quiet power of companionship. Building your chosen family doesn't happen overnight, but it does start with showing up. Volunteer at your local food bank, join a walking club or an art class. Even saying hello to someone at the library can open the door to something more. People need people. That doesn't change with age. If anything, it becomes more urgent. Because after 60, you've seen enough of life to know what really matters. Shared coffee, kind words, a hug on a hard day. These are not luxuries, they are your lifeline. If you've been feeling isolated, you're not alone. But you do have to take the first step. And you have to be intentional about who you let into your circle. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Choose people who uplift you, who make you feel alive, not drain. Over 60 wellness is not just about diet or exercise. It's about emotional connection, the strength to ask for help, the courage to be seen, and the joy of being part of something, no matter how small. You don't need 100 friends. You need 2 or 3 who show up when it counts, who remember your birthday, who check in when it's been a while, and you do the same for them, not out of duty, but because it feels good. That's aging gracefully advice they don't print on pamphlets, but it works. Your circle doesn't have to include family. It might be neighbors, former coworkers, or someone you meet at a class this week. The important thing is that you build it with care and protect it with kindness, because the right relationships are as vital as any remedy or health routine. Friendship isn't a bonus in your later years. It's the medicine you didn't know you needed. It's your reminder that life is still rich with laughter, love, and light. And it's worth every effort to keep that light burning. Number 6, spiritual grounding. Peace beyond the physical. There comes a time in life when you begin to ask different questions. Not what did I achieve, but am I at peace? Not what's next on the to-do list, but what really matters now. The shift marks the beginning of something deeper. And it's not about religion, it's about finding your center. Spiritual grounding isn't tied to any specific belief system. It's about discovering a quiet place inside yourself that can't be shaken by the outside world. You need something that calms the noise, that softens the edges of worry and gives you room to breathe. This kind of peace becomes more vital with age, not less. In a world full of constant distraction, stillness is healing. Nature can be a temple. A quiet walk can be a prayer. Reading the thoughts of ancient philosophers can feel more comforting than modern noise. Even sitting in silence with no goal at all can restore something in you that's been lost. It's one of the most overlooked longevity secrets in modern life. I once met a woman named Darlene, 76, from North Carolina. She told me that after her husband passed, she stopped going to church, not out of anger, but emptiness. For years, she felt adrift. She kept busy, saw friends, stayed active, but something was missing. One morning, she took a walk in the woods behind her home and just stood still. That moment, she said, was the first time in years she felt whole again. Since then, Darlene walks those woods nearly every day. No headphones, no phone, just trees, wind, and breath. It's her time to feel connected to nature, to herself, and to something larger. And she swears it's what saved her spirit when nothing else could. That's natural health for seniors most people never talk about. You don't need a name for what brings you peace, but you do need something: meditation, deep breathing, morning journaling, a favorite bench at the park, a handwritten quote by your bed. These simple acts root you. They make life feel less chaotic. Spiritual grounding gives you perspective. It helps you see beyond the aches, the changes, the losses. You realize you're not alone in your experience. You're part of a long human story. That understanding makes aging less frightening. The Mayo Clinic reports that spiritual well-being is linked to lower levels of depression, improved sleep, and better immune function. Not because of magic, but because calm lowers stress and stress harms health. Spiritual grounding helps your mind settle, your heart soften, your body recover. It's a form of senior health that supports both emotional strength and physical balance, and it's available to everyone regardless of background or beliefs. There's wisdom in older traditions: Stoicism, Taoism, native teachings, even simple folk wisdom passed down from grandparents. They remind us to focus on the present, to accept what we cannot control, to live with humility and courage, and above all, to see beauty in small things. That's the kind of perspective that money can't buy and youth can't teach. If you've felt overwhelmed, anxious, or disconnected lately, this is your call to come back to center. Not by doing more, but by doing less. Not by fixing everything, but by sitting with what is. Give your spirit room to breathe. Let peace find you where you are. You are not just a body, not just a brain. You are a soul with a story. And tending to that part of yourself may be the most important healing work you do. It won't add to your calendar, but it will add to your life. And that is the kind of wellness that truly lasts. You don't build a roof when it's already raining. You build it while the sun is still out so it's ready when the storm comes. That's what these 6 pillars are. Not quick fixes, not emergency measures. They're your foundation for a strong, joyful life after 60. You don't have to change everything overnight, but you do need to begin. Take a short walk, call someone you miss, cook one healthier meal, write down one thing you're grateful for. These small steps add up to real strength. When you build these habits now, you protect yourself from fear later. You live with more confidence, more purpose, and more freedom, and you become an example for your family, your friends, and others walking this same path. That's what it means to truly live healthy after 50. It's not just about years, it's about how you live them. If this message helped you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. And tell me in the comments, which pillar do you already have in place and which one do you want to work on next?